Hello, hello. All right, you guys. So, as many of you saw, I had already posted the today's topic video for the 21st because I always put these out in advance of the actual day, just because not everybody lives in the same time zone that I live in. So I always put them out early. And that I don't usually do a part one and a part two of a today's topic, but we kind of left a really long reading on a cliffhanger. And I said, if you guys want a part two, let me know and I'll do it. And by a lot of requests, you guys said yes. So this is for those of you who wanted to see a part two on this one. Thank you so much for your feedback. I always like to kind of like lay it out and say, hey, what do you guys think? Are you on a cliffhanger like I am with this? And it turns out we all were. So here we go. All right. So if you didn't watch part one, you will definitely want to do that first. The free link to that is right here in the description box on this video. It'll get you brought up to speed, but let me just do a quick recap anyway. Part one, we saw a King of Swords that was, hey Jessica, good to see you, honey. We saw a King of Swords in part one who was extremely like under pressure because they had a sense of knowledge that it's kind of a now or never moment. They need to move toward a Queen of Wands and set the record straight. There was a hint that they may be coming in with a full-blown like proposal. They obviously they want to salvage this connection, but it's for very serious purposes. Meanwhile, the Queen of Wands, that she didn't even have this person on her radar anymore. We didn't see exactly what had happened. We just knew some things obviously had not been handled properly, had not been handled well. We saw the justice card there, so definitely things had been very out of whack. She viewed them as an emperor in the reverse, and in her mind, she's done with that person. So it's going to be a pretty big shock for the Queen of Wands to have this person approach her. And in part one, that's what we saw. Despite their fear, they were about ready to override that fear, and they only have a very slim window of time for them to take this action and move toward her. So in part two, what I said we'd do is just look at it from the perspective of what does that Queen of Wands respond with? If she does say, I want to take this person back and see where it goes, or if she doesn't, what would those two different scenarios possibly generate for some interesting food for thought? This is not to say like, oh, if she does this, it'll be perfect, or if she does that, it'll be perfect. It's more to generate like what things are there for her to contemplate, because I used what I call my universe deck in part one to really try to get an idea of like, and it's, the universe deck is pretty blunt. That's always why I like to use it, because it cuts through stuff and it kind of comes in with a little bit of a sharp and tangy, acrid message sometimes. But the universe, when we pulled cards for her to say, well, what is it that she should contemplate right now? It was like, if there's no way she would forgive this person, then she needs to just let it go. But we really were not sure as to what she was going to do. So we're going to begin with the universe deck on this. And we're going to start out with, first off, what is the overall message from the universe in the entire situation that I've just described? Let's just begin there. Ace of Staves. So the universe, again, this is just getting gritty, okay? The universe says there's passion here, and there always has been, and there's a lot of unknown territory. These two have not pursued this to find out, will this be something more? Maybe this is only a passionate romance, or could it be the love of a lifetime? Well, guess what? These two never really got to invest long enough to know. But there is deep passion here. There's also incredible blockages of probably fear, mindset blockages. We've seen that certainly in part one on the side of that King of Swords. And obviously, we kind of are hinting that the Queen of Wands is probably going to be going through the same thing. And then we got the Devil. So it's as if there's big passion. I'm not going to say love. This is a card of passion. And it's actually a mystery as to whether or not is there really love, or is it just hot-blooded passion? And then there's a ton of blockage. And yet these two are still somewhere deep down. They have been toxic together. They have also, as much as we said the Queen of Wands had them not on her radar at all, it does appear that there is still a bond here. But it's the bond itself is messy, right? And of course it would be, because we have blocked energy, stagnancy, repeating thought patterns, repeating behaviors with the Devil card, but there's also big passion and the desire to see what might happen. So, I mean, that summarizes it. I probably should have just started there and not done a recap, because that's exactly what we saw in part one, if we were to just boil it down. All right, but let's ask, let's change decks. I want to use a totally fresh deck as we talk about this Queen of Wands. So first off, Queen of Wands. Let's begin by saying, when this person reaches out, what is her initial reaction? Potentially, right? Initial reaction. We have an 8 of aces in the reverse. So to not respond, her initial reaction is silence, because this would be an 8 of wands, but in the reverse is like, I say nothing. I hear from them, I say nothing. We got a 5 of wands, but now I think and I think and I think over it. And then we have the ace of wands, the ace of ashes. So there we go. The passion is there. So the universe was spot on. The universe is like, you still want each other. Okay, I want to say that it revs up that same old feeling. It's like, I'm done with this person. I don't think about them anymore. Now I look and I get a message from them that says, I love you. I need to see you. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, hell no, I'm not responding to that. Oh my God, I keep thinking about them. And now I'm flooded with memories, and I'm flooded with passionate memories. And there's probably a combination. 3 cards of fire mean it's all of those emotions that are felt strongly. It's hurt. It's maybe the desire to cry, the desire to kiss them, the desire to yell at them. It's kind of all rolled into one. So it's a lot of emotion. These two have a ton of fire between them. So her reaction is, I'm not responding. I'm thinking, and I'm filled with emotion, and I'm filled with all different types of fire. The Fool. And she starts to say, is this a chance for a new beginning, or am I a fool to even consider it? Am I being tested? Oh my gosh. I feel so bad for her. I want to give her a hug. Oh my gosh. 9 of ashes, King of Pentacles in the reverse. There's a part of her that is immediately saying, have they really laid down their, whatever their ego was? Are they just worn out, tired, and they got nothing, and that's why they're reaching out to me? Am I being a fool to even have any emotions left that could come to the surface because I hear from them? Am I being an absolute fool because maybe they're just broke down, literally broke? They got no money, they got no place to stay. So guess what? They're thumbing through their little black book and looking for a phone number that they go, oh, I remember that person was a real fool for me. I mean, I think she's being kind of harsh, because remember, I said this is probably going to be a blunt story. Please remember, this is fictional. Please click off if it upsets you. I promise you, I'm not talking about you. I am not passing judgment, and I wouldn't talk to you in real life if I did know you. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty blunt. I might, but I would do it with love. But this is not aimed at any real living person, right? But we're trying to get inside the head of our character right now. What is she going through? All of those emotions. Now, personally, I can totally understand how a character would feel all those things, because that's exactly how I would feel. I feel all these emotions. Oh my God, am I just a total idiot? Are they serious? Are they just reaching out to me because they're dead broke? They got nothing in their pocket, not 2 dimes to rub together. And so they're reaching out to me. Yeah, that's probably what it is. I could totally picture somebody's mind just ping ponging back and forth from the worst to the best, from the worst to the best. Why? Because this thing was a mess. It was a train wreck. So that makes sense that she's going through all that roller coaster ride. The World. Okay. She makes a decision that something has to be done here. We've got to go ahead, and if she's going to operate in a new manner, which is really, I think, she's making this determination, I have got to stop ping-ponging back and forth. I'm not anybody's doormat, and I know that. I've already changed my life, and I know that. I don't tolerate being treated poorly, and I know that. I'm already on a new pathway. So my responses are going to be different. I think she's really pulling herself back in check and saying, I'm not going to let myself even go down that road of, thinking all of these negative thoughts and then bouncing back over to, what if, or no, maybe I'm a fool. I think she's saying, wait. I am nobody's fool. I am a person who makes choices based off of information I currently have. That's how I've always operated. So I'm not going to assume anybody is trying to play games with me. I am always in control of my own world, and I want to move forward in a different way. So I think she immediately calms that energy. I literally, I know on this card we see somebody who's it appears that they're shining light out of their hands, but I'm going to say, I actually feel like it's her pulling her energy back in and saying, I'm not riding crazy train on this one. I'm going to pull my energy inward, and I'm going to harness all that power instead of letting my brain spin and send out all this energy of all these different thoughts and scenarios. No, I'm going to hold my power within me. So now what does that mean? What action might she take? We'll get to the question of, if she's going to reach out to them, what might happen? If she's going to reach out to them. respond to them? What is she going to respond with? A Four of Cups and the Temperance card. If she reaches out to them at all, she will probably be extremely blunt and say, wow, this was always something that it seemed like such a huge missed opportunity. You know, I see you're reaching out to me now. What is it that you're reaching out for? I mean, I don't disagree. This is a big missed opportunity. It always seemed that way. But I'm not sure where we both are, but I certainly don't want to argue and fight. Again, this is her. She's not making promises. She's not reaching out to say, oh, I believe that you love me. I'm going to respond with, I love you too. You know, hurry up, come here and marry me. She's not doing any of that. She's going to respond really honestly is what it looks like. And without turbulence. No turbulence of emotions. It's just like all of this is to boil it down to hopefully the most raw and simplistic thing. Like, what is it really? Yeah, this all sucked. It really did. Maybe we can make peace. I still don't know what that means to make peace with you. But if she reaches out, it's going to be real simplified. Two of Cups. Also, what we saw in part 1 is we had the Two of Cups come out twice, once on the King of Swords side and once on her side. So the other thing is, I want to say that if she chooses to reach out to them at all, it is going to be with the intention of just acknowledging, like, there is a profound connection that we feel with each other. Okay, we've established that. We both feel it. That's not anything to hide or run from. Why? Because we're adults. It is what it is. Whether we've been successful or whether it's been a hot mess, a dumpster fire, the bottom line is we have a bond, right? That's why you're reaching out to me. That's why inside of me I'm reacting. So we're going to openly admit the bond that is there and not pretend or push it down or punish ourselves by trying to say, no, I don't feel this way when I actually do. This is if she chooses to reach out. The only reason she would reach out is because she would acknowledge that there is still a bond there, right? And also that there has always been a very mysterious aspect to this. A very mysterious kind of, what does this bond mean? This is the High Priestess. And so the High Priestess is all about like understanding intuition, the stuff we can't put into words. Again, you notice how none of this is her saying, okay, since you reached out to me, I'm instantly going to respond. She really does think about it. She really pulls her energy into a place of calm. And then she only approaches not with, I love you too, blah, 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 but more like, I acknowledge this has been a huge disappointment. I acknowledge there's a desire for some kind of balance, and I acknowledge that we have had a bond. And I also acknowledge I'm not even sure what this all means. It's just the acknowledgement. It's like basically what I would say is this is the equivalent of two people saying, let's sit down like with a mediator. Only in this case, the mediator is just that inner guidance that says, I don't want conflict, drama, pain, hurt. We had enough of that. But I'm also not going to pretend that I feel nothing when I actually do. I think that this is the only reason she would reach out is if she says, would this be good for me? Do I, at the core of my soul, do I actually want to communicate with this person to settle the mysteries that I have in my mind in regards to this? That's the only reason she would be responding. It is not out of the hopes of anything. It would only be because she wants to get some kind of a resolution or some kind of an answer for her own self. She'll only do it if it feels like it would be good for her. Page of Cups, she's leaving an open door for an apology. If that's, it's an interesting time for this Queen of Wands, because as much as we said in part 1, she was like, they were not on her radar. She was over that. She remembers exactly the way they were. She saw them as an emperor in the reverse, but she also saw them as a twin flame. And it's almost like, okay, why would I deny myself a chance to, like, why don't we calm the troubled waters here? So she's making space. If they would like to present information, heal. It's like, why would I ever keep scar tissue if it could actually be healed? Why would I keep an oozing wound if this is the balm that could actually heal something? Us sitting down and having conversation. Okay, I was going to say her desire is not to try to push for like oh, we're going to be like, she's under some fantasy fairyland mist of like, it's going to be rainbows and birds in every tree. They're coming in because they love me. They're perfectly healed. They'll never hurt me again. And I believe everything's going to be ideal between us. She's not reaching out to them with any of those thoughts. Her initial reaction is really to simply not deny herself, to say the things that are true from a very calm heart space. And then if this person's intentions are really to heal things, she's like, I who wouldn't want true healing? Because true healing, whether it's going to lead to her having that 10 of cups with them, or just being able to close the chapter really nicely and move on with no hard feelings, so that we can all, progress in life and have 10 of cups relationships. She's like, any way I slice it, if I do reach out to them, that is the ultimate goal. It is to really make space for healing so that everybody moves forward into the happiest possible outcomes for their lives. I think that this is all very like, this is pretty amazing that she centered her energy enough to be able to do this, but with that intention. So could it be that somewhere deep inside she does think, I wonder if it could become a 10 of cups? She might, but keep in mind, all these other cards came before that. All these other cards denote all the other aspects of this that would have to happen first. So she's not somebody who's trying to jump the gun or be like, okay, throw caution to the wind, I'm just going to jump back in with them. That is not her attitude. If she does reach out to them, this is really to bring calm and peace. That is the ultimate motive. And the reason she wants calm and peace is for the ability to then have a ton of happiness. And it doesn't even mean necessarily with them. Okay, if she does not reach out to them, if she does not respond to them, what might be going on? This is in the event she doesn't want to reach out at all. 6 of Swords. So this would be like her, let's pretend that it's like a Queen of Wands is standing there and she's trying to look at the two different choices she could make. Do I speak to them? Or is it the fact that they reached out to me? That is my closure. That was the final thing. Good. I'm glad that they missed me. I'm glad that they loved me. It's too bad that they only just now can say it. Even if I had a bond with them in this lifetime, it's our journey is completed. So 6 of Swords, I'm moving forward, and somehow hearing from them, I realized that alone gave me the peace and the closure that I needed. So there is no need for more conversation. She may do that as well. This is moving forward in peace and calm. Except we have a 9 of Swords and we have the Moon. She's also saying, I really feel like I could let this go. And then the worry pops in of, but what if I feel differently later? What if I live the rest of my life and I never know? Could we have had a final conversation, or could a final conversation have changed everything? I'm so sorry, but it looks like there is still like a little bit of a reel for her. And this is just in her own mind. This is not like, oh, but what if they are my true love? It's more like, if I don't respond and I just move on so I can really have peace and calm, am I ever going to look back when I'm 80 and I say, I so wish that I had just gone ahead and had that conversation. What if that's how I feel about something? She's really, I feel like this Queen of Wands is so, they're being so fair with themselves, because they're saying, I need to make sure that whatever choice I make, there will not be something that hangs over my head as a disappointment later on in life, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about living life to the fullest. I'm about, giving myself, given myself the chance to grow in the direction that I want to grow. Sometimes think of it like the image of pruning, like a fruit tree just came to mind. We shape trees on purpose, right? Because if the suckers just go straight up, then the next year we got, apples way up in the sky that we can't hardly reach. We've lost our kind of pretty shape. Also, it can, wind up creating like branches that are too heavy and then they bust full of fruit. You have to tend to everything. So the way we prune things in life do help things to grow in a proper way. So that's really what she's saying, is if I stop and I don't connect with them at all, and I ignore the fact that they've reached out, on one hand, it would give me peace today, but what about 3 seasons from now? Will I have pruned my tree properly, or will I discover that I pruned improperly? Whatever it is, she's like, if I don't respond to them, this will be it. I won't be going down a road with them again. This is our departure point. So now it's interesting because if you remember in part 1, we said like the King of Swords was like, I have to make a decision about what I'm going to do now. And I know that I have to come toward her now, because there was like only this little window of time for them before she's going to be like really in a whole different cycle of her life. Well, now the role has flipped a little bit where it's her saying, I'm realizing it, the ball is now in my court. If I choose not to speak to this person, it's kind of like a speak now or forever hold your peace, just like we said in part 1 for them, for the king. This will be the end. I won't connect with this person again. Am I prepared to say that? Am I prepared to say this is the last time I will interact with this person in my life? These are big questions. These are really big questions when we are discussing a kind of like energetic bond that has had mystery to it. See, we've got a King of Coins and we have a Three of Swords. She's still just so burdened by, yeah, but can I take someone back who has really wrecked my heart? Can I do that? Do I want to do that? Just because they are maybe now stable, will it undo the way my heart feels? So will talking to them change anything? The other side of her says, I think if I don't talk to them, although I will always say, I wonder if I'll have any regrets, 35, 50 years from now. On the other hand, she's saying, but I will move forward in my life if I don't talk to them. I will perhaps meet a totally different person who will love me and really love me well. And maybe that hurt that they caused me will never get a chance to fully heal. But if it allows me to meet somebody new, maybe our time together has come to a close. So it's an interesting thing. She's basically, if she chooses not to reach out to them at all, it's going to be because she says, but this the only way I can really walk away from this is to acknowledge this is the end of the road for us. Maybe even though I loved this person, even though they caused me pain, there isn't going to be an undoing of this, no matter what. But it does allow me to move forward. It's going to take a certain amount of, I'm going to say, deep conviction that our story has come to a close. For her to not reach out to this person and to truly let it go, she would be acknowledging there are some wounds here that now will not actually be addressed again. So I will simply live with some of that scar tissue, which we all do anyway, right? It's not the end of the world, but I will also finally move forward in my life. So really it's the weighing of, do I really move forward and I say that chapter of my life with them is permanently over and I accept I will not speak to them again in this lifetime and this is a finished and completed cycle, even though nothing has fully ever been able to be healed? Or do I say, let me go ahead and sit down at the table with them and see what comes of it? It is very much about, like, if she has worry that she's going to get sucked back into, like, that crazy cycle or something, she really may want to protect herself and not deal with this anymore and just say, look, some hurts aren't going to be undone anyway. So what's the point in having conversation? So she's at that point. So let's weigh in with the universe on each side of this storyline. Universe, what is the thing for her to contemplate if she chooses to just move forward in her life? The universe says, not pretending to move on. She's got to be sure she really is moving on. To not pretend like she's fine if she's not. If walking away from this and saying, I'll never speak to them again, but that's totally okay. That she's got to make sure that she's not lying to herself. If there's any piece of her that somehow still secretly every single day is going to think about them, I wonder what, I still feel a connection to them. Like, she can pretty much only move on if she's really being honest and saying, I have nothing left to say. I don't think of them anymore. Otherwise, it's kind of a lie and she probably won't move on at all. Sorry, I know these are very blunt. I'm sorry. I know I'm not being very sensitive. I'm just saying it like what, but that was a blunt card. Okay, if she does talk to them, what's the universe got to say? Don't talk to anybody unless it's going to be the full truth, meaning we got to be willing to hear the full truth. We've got to let someone speak their full truth. And then we've got to be able to ask all the questions that we have. There cannot be any kind of holding back, sugarcoating, pretending that we're okay with stuff that we're not. It has to be the whole truth, even if it's going to hurt, even if it's going to be ugly. The only thing, if we're going to talk but not really say it all and get to the bottom of what does this connection mean, what do we genuinely feel about each other, where do we still, hold or harbor resentment, if those things cannot be addressed, then there's no point in communicating. Because again, we're not going to get to the bottom of anything. We're not going to get clarity, whether we then, close a conversation and cut it off and shake hands and walk away both feeling lighter and brighter and move on in our lives, or we say, I now feel like we could build trust again. It all has to be, this is some serious work that has to be done on either side, right? No matter what choice she makes. It's all of this storyline from part 1 all the way through part 2 has all been the same message. It's all or nothing. If we're going to actually try to achieve some kind of like closure, we have to be willing to like really go down that road of like figuring out what that means. If we're going to try to reconnect, we have to fully embrace. And so these are big questions, because how do we know, are we really ready to get that real and lay everything bare? This is a huge practice in vulnerability for both characters, which makes sense because technically between part 1 and part 2, we've seen the Two of Cups come out twice. So very interesting. Very interesting. So hold on. Sorry, everybody. I gotta go ahead and tidy some things up over here. My apologies. So where are we at this point? Universe, do we have a final outcome between the two of them? I felt like I feel so empathetic for both of these characters. We have a Queen of Cups. We have an Eight of Sacred Circles. All right, so the universe boils it down to one simple final message. The things that we love will always require work and effort. And that includes, we love ourselves enough to put in work and effort to build a good relationship with ourselves. The people that we care about, those are people that matter in our lives, and we show them that they matter by being willing to put in the work and effort. And this particular card of work and effort, this Eight of Sacred Circles, you notice that she's like tanning an animal hide and making drum skins out of it, and then she's kind of like sitting in what seems like a teepee, and she's got like a blanket wrapped around her per animal skin. And to me, I always look at this as from what I understand, from what I've read anyway, Native American cultures had a profound and amazing connection to like the value of every living creature, the value of the planet that we stand upon, and great reverence for it. And anything that was utilized to its fullest. So, it was a sense of gratitude for whatever creature they were going to, kill and then eat. And then that hide was used and the bones were used and every part of it. Nothing was done in vain. Nothing was lost. That life that was taken was honored, respected, and every single part of it was utilized. And I guess what I'm trying to say, not that we're talking about killing animals, it's a metaphor for anything that is worthy of doing. We want to put in the effort to make the most out of any opportunity in life, particularly when we talk about things to do with our emotions. So perhaps the universe says, whether these two get back together or whether these two do not, the depth of experience that these two have possibly both gone through, they want to both make sure that they get every lesson. That's how we know it was a really sacred connection, because they treated it like, this has impacted my life perhaps more than any other person I've ever dealt with. What did I learn out of it? I learned about myself. I learned about you. I learned about relationships. I learned about all these different components, and it took work and it was hard, but it's also been like an act of love and an act of reverence. To honor a connection doesn't always mean it's successful, but it does mean that it alters us, it changes us, and that we put in the time and the effort to really learn something. And that can be, whatever happens here, they can both walk away maybe feeling better and proud that they did a Herculean amount of effort and they did the best they could, even if it took a ton of time to try to figure out what the lessons were and to get it right. This was not wasted. This connection was not wasted. Even the hurt, the trials, the tribulations, the everything that both characters have gone through, the thought processes they had to break down, the getting vulnerable, getting real with themselves, all of that was so worth it. Only because love is always going to test us, and it's always going to help us to grow if we handle it right. So I still don't see necessarily are these two going to end up together, but I will say this leans really heavily towards saying yes. It will not be something that comes back together quickly if that is the case, though. It would be something that a lot of effort has to be put in. Comfort has to be reestablished before that Queen of Wands gives her love to this person again. Trust has to be rebuilt. Time, effort. There is a possibility here for that to happen. Anyway, I know this still kind of stayed abstract. I know we don't have a direct message on any of this, but this was a story where I don't think we were ever going to get a direct message, because it was more about reflecting on like what kinds of thought processes go through someone's mind, and trying to get down to the most basic elements of, you know, what is important here, what is the big lesson. That's always what I look for in all my stories. I don't like dramatic, like just drama for the sake of drama. I'm not a drama person at all, but I do enjoy, you know, storytelling that like really forces my brain to work overtime and forces me to contemplate different ideas about things and challenges me, because I feel like I always wind up, you know, like at least chewing on something a lot longer, and I always feel like that's better than like mindless like drama. Oh, she's gonna say no to him and say blah 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 and blah blah blah, and they're gonna have a fight. Like, I don't tell stories like that because I don't like them. I would rather look at what did we gain out of an experience for our character. So I actually really did like this one, even though I know we don't have a direct answer. But it sure does feel a lot more soothing. It feels like there's a wonderful lightness in this. I would like to do one last thing. I would like to just look at the perspective of the final thoughts for that King of Wands, excuse me, King of Swords in the reverse. And in regards to her specifically, the Lovers and the Two of Wands. If we were to simplify this, it would be saying, please choose me. I mean, that's it. Like, this time I'll catch you if you jump into my arms. Please choose me. I know the choice is yours, but you notice how we have the sun and the moon. I would just say that this divine masculine is at the point where they have chosen. You notice how their hand is coming right between the two elements here, and the sun, the divine masculine is the sun, the divine feminine is the moon, and their hand reaches right between those two and says, I'll meet you in the middle. Maybe they were way too arrogant before. That's pretty much what we saw. Maybe they couldn't meet in the middle. It was my way or the highway. It was all arrogance. It was all control. We saw a lot of that. They showed up as an emperor in the reverse, which would be like the sun flipped upside down. Instead of the sun, you know, glowing with warmth, it's the sun that, you know, gives us sunburns, and it's, you know, radiating, and it's destructive. They are saying, I would meet you in the middle if you choose me, because the Lover's card is a card of choice, and they are standing here hoping that she jumps into their arms. I can't help it. I'm a romantic. I love it. All right, there, I said it. I love it. Nina, does she have another choice? We didn't see that. We were only talking about if they reach out to her, but that's a great question, Nina. Let's go ahead and pull one other card just on behalf of the fact that Nina put a new thought into this mixture. Let's go ahead and see. Eight of Cups, not at the moment. This is a character who is, she's, at least with an Eight of Cups, she's identifying as single. She's walking her own path. That may be why, remember at the beginning in part one, I said, wow, the King of Swords in the reverse is super stressed, feeling like I have got to reach out to her and I've got to do it now. I've got to do it now. And I never fully understood why there was that little window of time where they better make a jump on it. It may be because of this. She is fully single, and she is basically making a path for herself as to where she's headed next. I mean, maybe she's about to change some significant things in her mind, change her, when we change our direction in life, our thought pattern, it's kind of like we change everything about what we'd be willing to invite into our lives. So if she's in this space where she's kind of like a clean slate right now, she doesn't have another lover on her mind, she doesn't have a, some life plan. Maybe she's at like a really incredible, like, I'm going to say a plateau where she's like, wow, I could go up, I could go left, I could go right, I could go any direction. And that's why they need to come rushing in right now and make sure that she knows that they are a direction that they are hoping that she will choose. Because otherwise she's going to go down this road. Maybe she's about to move, maybe she's about to, transition something in her life, but it's very much about she's not going to be the same person after this if they don't race in. But right now it does look like a fully single individual here. She doesn't really have another option on her plate right now. And that's not going to last for long though, because we've got these swans here. Swans mate for life. So interesting. Interesting. Nina, I love you. You're so awesome. All right, you guys. Well, whatever happens in this story for these characters, what I love is that the overarching point of the whole story is do the thing that we can live with. Do the thing that our character is going to be able to feel brings them the greatest success, the greatest happiness, the greatest joy. That is the ultimate question is anytime our character is faced with, such a like a massive question mark, the only person who can answer is that character, but it's only after they say what will give me the greatest peace. And it will be different for any version of the Queen of Wands. Right now we looked at the two different halves and she has to make a decision. It does kind of look like there is still a bond here that wants to be explored, but it may not be, right? It all depends on how our Queen of Wands lands, what she settles on. So I'm going to leave that there. Isabella, thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you. That is so generous. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you all for your lovely energy. Thank you for hanging out with me. I am absolutely delighted. Hi, Theta. Oh, very nice. I'm delighted that you popped by for a live. I'll be doing a few more lives throughout the next couple months also, where I'll do some free reads for subscribers. I'm doing that instead of doing just one free read a week. I used to do that all the time for like the last couple years on the today's topic videos. But instead of just doing 4 free ones per month, I thought my schedule will work better if I just randomly pop on here and there and do some free reads for subscribers in general. And honestly, it'll be a lot more than just 4 per month also. So keep your notification bells turned on for that, so you know when that randomly happens. I won't do any pre-announcements. It'll be just random times and stuff, just because it'll always be random for me as well. It's whenever I've got some free time. But thank you guys so much. Oh, know thyself oracles with Linda J. What perfect timing. That was perfect timing. Hi, Anuko. How are you, honey? Delinda, thank you for being here and bringing your awesome energy as always. Wendy, hi. Horror movie fanatic. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Did you watch that one called The Boy? I loved that one. It was very like gothic. It was really cool. Oh, homesick for hills. Hey, good to see you in the house. Hey, Arisha goddess. I hear you, sweetheart. Hello, Arthur, Melissa. Awesome. Very nice. Karen McConnell in the house. Glad to see you, hun. Hi, Ray from Scotland. I hear you, Sandry. Absolutely. Yeah. Novello, thank you. Thank you. Carrie Wilson, awesome. You made it. This is kind of a different time for us, huh? Because I know you're in a different time zone. Hey, Ashley. Yeah, I liked her too. I liked the character in this story. I thought she was like really being super thoughtful with her self. MC42, good to see you. Thanks for your lovely energy and lovely comments, you guys. All right, everybody, take care. I will see you again later on this evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys again too. Thank you, Sandry. D in the house, good to see you. Hi, Desiree. Sainin 75, thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. All right, you guys, lots of love. I'll see you later on this evening, and we'll do a couple of other videos. All right, for now, I must disappear. This was a short little gap of time I could squeeze in this afternoon. And I was like, I don't want to miss my chance to do part two, because I promised you guys I would if you wanted it. I didn't want to let too much time pass. Hallelujah. That's hilarious. I hear you. I know there was lots that came through this one, lots to unpack. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.